Hi, Kasey here with Harmony Horticultural Consulting in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about vine selection in your backyard to cover those hard surfaces. Hard surfaces can reflect a lot of heat, create hot microclimates in your yard, and covering them will buffer that heat, especially in the summer months. First, you have to ask yourself what you want that vine to do for you. Are you looking for a green surface to cover a hard wall, or reflected heat buffering from a living environment adjacent to a western exposure? Also, are you looking for seasonal color? Are you looking to invite pollinators, your bees and your hummingbirds, into your yard? Making sure that you understand its water requirements as well as the exposure is an important step to picking the right plant for your space. The first vine I'd like to talk to you a little bit is the cross vine, also known as the tangerine beauty. This is a fantastic vine. In fact, it's one of my favorite vines for sun shade, and as you can see, this is a very shady area here. But it just performs very well in our region. And in the spring, each spring, you get a massive, just a prolific amount of flowering. And there's a couple stragglers here. These tubular flowers that emerge from the plant, and these are very attractive for both bees and your nectar feeding your birds, your hummingbirds. So if you like to attract wildlife and little critters to your yard, it's a great option as well for that reason. Now, it is loosely, it has these light tendrils. They will stick loosely, and I say that because it does need some support. These tendrils will stick on a surface, especially a rough surface, and but they do need a little bit of support, and I'll show you in a minute what kind of support. You can see these tendrils that have stuck onto the brick here, and as it gets woody, that's when the weight becomes a problem with this vine, and that's why you do want to have support. One of my favorite ways to support this vine without a full trellis system is to purchase these plastic, or you can find them in metal, sticky tabs, and they have a little hoop in them, and you can tie the branches as they grow into that area. Now, you can stick these onto your wall in a random fashion like I have on this wall, or you can put them in a pattern and create a formal look with this vine. Now, I will say the formal look is a bit more high maintenance, so if you are out in your garden and want to be treating this vine on a regular basis, hey, go for it. But otherwise, if you want this more natural, organic feel of a vine in your backyard, then these tabs work great. One of the things I have found when purchasing these tabs is they do come in packets with a glue adhesive, but I don't feel it holds up well in our heat environment, high heat environment of Arizona. So I get the clear liquid nails and go ahead and use that as the adhesive, glue them onto the surface, and then wait about 24 hours for it to have a strong bond before I put any weight or branches through the twist tie. Another fun thing you can do with the crossvine is to train it between fences. So if you want a little bit more protection from that fence or a barrier to create, you can create a green wall by training it to go in between the slats on your fence. As you can see, this part of the yard gets full sun except for late afternoon protection from this beautiful elm tree. So it does get afternoon shade to protect it from the harsh summers in Arizona. But it does tolerate it. The things that I noticed that occur in the summer months on this particular plant is that its leaves will start to be smaller and get a little bleached out in the full sunlight. So if that happens, it might be a hot spot. Just give it a little extra water and care for it a little bit more through the summer months. When October hits, you should get a surge of growth, lots of new growth, and it'll continue growing into springtime. Another great vine we have for a more shaded or protected microclimate would be the Ficus Pomelo or creeping fig. As you can see, this is a very dense dark green look, covering all surfaces. Now this is self-adhesing and it can cause some damage to your structure if you have a painted surface. And so you want to be careful. The other thing is, as it grows up on wood, you definitely don't want it to grow on wood because it can penetrate the wood and cause some structural integrity issues over time. So this might be a higher maintenance vine for you, but it's a great vine to have if you want to, again, cover that surface 100% or train it into more structural looking plant. Other fun things about the Ficus Pomelo is it has two different types of growth. You have the juvenile growth, which is these small, delicate leaves that emerge from the new growth. And then you also have these thicker, more leathery looking leaves, which is the mature growth. So a lot of times it looks like two different plants are growing on one vine or on one wall, but in fact you have the mature leaf of the Ficus Pomelo and the immature leaf of the Ficus Pomelo. If you don't like this leathery, thick, woody looking plant, then you will have to maintain it to only have that juvenile growth. I would say monthly pruning would be required in order for it to stay juvenile. When maintaining any of these vines that are self-adhesing, it is very important to make sure that you prune any of the branches that are not firmly attached to your surface off. So over time the weight doesn't pull everything or the entire plant off of the surface. This has quite a bit of mature foliage on it, and I'm okay with that. I think any green surface is better than looking at the brick wall. But you can see how woody and thick some of these branches can get over time if you allow them to have that more mature, thicker growth. Now, this ficus plant was planted as a 5-gallon fall of 2018, and it is now June of 2019. So this new shoot that has emerged, that is about 18 inches or so. That has grown in about a 6-week period. So once it is established, it starts growing at a rapid pace, but during that 6 to 12 month establishment period, don't expect to see too much new growth off of this plant. So again, Ficus Pomelo will take off if it's in a happy place, that northern exposure or a protected southern or eastern exposure, but you do want to make sure it doesn't grow up on your eaves of your home or penetrate any of your wood portions of your home, just to protect the structure itself. Now, what I would do is come in here and prune right before the vine gets to the wood and just keep up on it. The third vine I'm going to talk to you about today is the cat's claw vine. Cat claw is that bright, prolific, blooming vine that you see along the freeways a lot of times in the middle of the summer. And it's dark green. It sticks to those hot western exposure walls where nothing else will grow. Now, there are a few things you have to consider before planting cat claw, and the first thing is make sure you want it at that location, because once it's established in the ground, it is hard to get rid of. There are a few other things to consider before using cat's claw in your backyard. While they do have a strong attachment to these rough surfaces, as you can see there, they do like to get heavy and grow thickly off of the wall, as you can see here. This does need to be pruned on a regular basis in order to keep it tightly adhered to the wall, or better is to install some type of trellis system attached to the wall to provide support a couple inches away from the wall. Now, you can use a metal structure, a powder-coated structure, or even a wood structure. Now, I will say a wood trellis will work, but over time in the desert heat, it probably won't last as long as a metal structure. If you want to go without the trellis, what you'll have to do is come in here and prune off any of the branches that are not firmly attached to the wall. Careful not to pull the attached ones away from the wall, which is easy to do if you're not careful. And that is what it would look like as it grows. Another consideration for growing cat claw is its close proximity to other plants. Again, this is an aggressive grower, and you do want to make sure that it doesn't grow into and consume adjacent plants. Cat's claw can freeze back on those coldest years, but hopefully your wall will provide some level of heat production during those cold nights. So to recap, a few things to consider before shopping for that vine. First, you want to make sure that the vine is just right for your growing environment. Is it shady enough for the Ficus Pomelo, or does it have enough sunlight to promote that prolific bloom for that cross vine? Also, you want to make sure that the water requirements are in line with the other plants on that irrigation zone. So if you plant a cat's claw and it's also on with water-loving plants, you might overwater your cat's claw and get more growth than you're hoping to maintain. The last thing you want to consider before selecting a vine is its maintenance requirements. If you were hoping for a low maintenance vine and then planted something that is a fast growing vine that requires regular attention, you might be disappointed in its maintenance requirements. So make sure that you research each plant that you are planting and know its environment, its water requirements, and you should have a great green surface to cover those bare walls or buffer some of the heat that those walls produce in the summer months. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and also comment below and let me know what other plant health care concerns you'd like me to talk about next time.